Silksong's out. After 7 years of waiting and coping and crying and seething, Silksong's finally out. All that's left now is to buy the game and experience peak gaming. What does sold out mean? Games are big. Games are enormous, actually. That's an understatement. Silksong has amassed 5.2 million wish lists over the course of its pre-release. That is literally the amount of people in New Zealand. Games have impact. Games change lives. The right game can unify nations. Apparently, Grow a Garden is the right game. Now take the impact of a game and unleash it into a storefront coated by duct tape in the dreams of a dying child. You tell me what happens. Silksong is the prime example of this. After the monumental success of Hollow Knight Silksong was announced in 2019 and had 6 years to build up an audience. 6 years of no communication, delays, and the fan base going a little bit mentally demented. Silksong was such a massive, big deal that when it revealed its release date, other indie games moved their release dates to not lose players. With all this leading up to its release, you would think Silksong was an agent sent from the light or something. From the darkness. Silksong released on September 4, aka Doomsday. Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo couldn't handle Silksong's release. That is every single platform that Silksong is on. If you wanted to play Silksong the second it came out, patience is a virtue. Okay, my patience doesn't last 2 hours. You would think Steam's storefront would be down for like a couple of minutes, maybe half an hour, not 2. But what am I gonna do for those 2 hours? Live life? The sun hurts my eyes anyways, I'll stay inside. It makes sense why all these storefronts went down. Just in Steam's side, Silksong hit 555,000 concurrent players. That's all of... wait... Maldives. Silksong was the second entry in a highly popular indie game franchise, one that was building up hype for over 6 years. Silksong was a meme because of the fact that it wouldn't come out. Now imagine the free publicity that it would get from that when it does. Hundreds of thousands of people flocking to the servers to buy Silksong, and the IT guy doesn't get paid enough for this. Alright, after 5 hours and multiple broken bones, I got the game. Let's finally play the most wish-listed game of all time. Maybe another delay wouldn't have been that bad. What? Ref, can they do that? Another amazing example of a game that broke storefronts when it came out is Deltarune. This section isn't about Deltarune. Deltarune's breaking of Steam is actually a pretty big deal, as it wasn't a full game, but an update. Imagine being able to break storefronts not by releasing an entire game with years worth of build-up, but an update. Technically, this was the full game release, as chapters 1 and 2 were a demo, and chapters 6 and 7 will be updates. But breaking storefronts with just 2 chapters is not common. Instead, I want to talk about Deltarune's predecessor, a small indie game you probably haven't heard of, the one video game given to the Pope. When Undertale released in 2015, it didn't take the world by storm, it took it by a hurricane. No, the hurricanes kill people. Undertale is pretty decisively one of, if not the most popular indie game of all time. And 10 years after its release, it's still incredibly popular, which is why an anniversary stream went so well. The Undertale 10th anniversary stream was a stream celebrating put 2 and 2 together, and gave us many new scenes, elephants, and a pacifist sans fight. One of the main events of the anniversary was a website that let you write what Undertale meant to you. With the aesthetics of the Echo Flower, which is one of the most iconic parts of Undertale, this was a really cool way to celebrate it. Thousands of people wrote in and talked about how important Undertale was to their lives. I didn't write in, but like pretend I did. The only thing is, Undertale is a bigger game than I think you think it is. When I said thousands of people submitted, I actually meant hundreds of thousands. Nearly instantly, the site crashed. It couldn't handle all the submissions. The website being flooded with over 400,000 submissions 10 years after the game came out is nothing short of incredible. No wonder the website crashed. All those submissions came in a 24-hour period. Wait, it was up for only 24 hours? May this type of success find me. It's genuinely amazing seeing how many hearts are still being touched by Undertale to this day. Silksong, this section isn't even about you. You would think the practice of breaking the internet is a pretty new thing. After all, I've only used examples of pretty modern indie games. But this dates back to before the internet even existed. How do you break the internet if the internet doesn't exist, you ask? You asked that, right? Simple, you make the most influential game of the time. This would have been so much cooler with any other version of the game. Doom is kind of crazy when you think about it. A 2 megabyte game that's on every platform. If your screen can't run Doom, it doesn't deserve to be a screen. Doom on the Game Boy Advance? Doom on the piano? Even before its initial release, Doom was huge. Over 10,000 people were waiting to download it when it was ready to release. Now, look, all this happened back in the Stone Ages. The internet worked differently than how it works now. I won't even try to act like an expert. I wasn't alive during that time. If I was, I would do like this. But through a quick 40-second skim on Wikipedia, rigorous research, the internet kind of worked like a file transfer system where the server could give files to the clients. Apparently, too many people were waiting for the game on their client side that they just couldn't upload the game to the server. And after they released episode 1 for free, too many people were trying to download the game, enough to cause crashes and speed losses on many places. To break the internet before the internet was even worldwide is a really crazy feat, one that could only be rivaled by a monumental game. A game so impactful that it transcends gaming as a whole. You have to be kidding me. Roblox's Grow a Garden, the game which holds the record of the most people playing it at once. Why? Grow a Garden is exactly what the game says. You will grow a garden. Yeah, that's it. You buy seeds, plant seeds, do absolutely nothing as they grow, and then sell the plants to make more money to buy more seeds. If this sounds boring, it's because it is. But how many players do you think this game got? Would you have guessed 22 million? That's over 4 times the size of New Zealand. I'm sorry, man. At many points throughout Grow a Garden's life, it destroyed Roblox's servers. Many times, people could just not play the game, or any Roblox game really. This would usually be tied to event updates, as those are what bring the most players. Now you might ask, if Grow a Garden is a very simple gardening game, why does it have so many players? It might be simple, but it's really addicting. You see the money number get bigger, you see your plants get bigger. What more could a man want? Okay, probably that. Funnily enough, for breaking the internet, we still haven't talked about the biggest game of all time. Despite its stature, I don't think Minecraft's really done this all that much. At least, not by itself. If one game has the ability to destroy Steam for 2 hours, what can 2 games do? If it's Steve! It's Steve! Kill somebody. Steve's addition to Smash might be the craziest thing to happen ever, bar none. I remember the shock. I remember the yelling. It's like reliving a past traumatic event, but instead of traumatic, you're just popping off. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was the best-selling fighting game of all time and the 3rd best-selling Switch game of all time. Smash Bros. Is a genuine phenomenon, and pair that with Minecraft being the biggest game of all time, a lot of people are gonna want Steve in Smash. So after 6 characters, a lot of people were losing hope. But that's when we got a Smash Bros. Direct announcing that Steve would be the next fighter added to Smash. Twitter then broke. Not Steam, not the eShop, not some website that was made for an event. No, Twitter. Shortly after Steve's reveal, Twitter started having some major server issues, and Steve's reveal in Smash was the biggest and most tweeted topic of that day. It's never been officially super mega ultra confirmed that Steve's reveal is what specifically crashed Twitter, but honestly, I think it's likely. Minecraft has sold over 300 million copies, I'm sorry New Zealand, and it's by far the most popular game of all time. For it to collaborate with Smash Bros, which is another insanely popular game, and one that generates immense hype over its character reveals, I think it's a perfect storm that definitely could have broken Twitter. And that's awesome. Not awesome as in like rad and tubular, awesome as in like awe-inducing. The fact that games have the power to do this, the power to wipe out parts of the internet for a bit, the fact that they even have the impact to do this is insane. Almost beautiful in a way. Isn't it crazy that games can even do this? The fact that in an indie game, a team of 3 people can break storefronts when they release a game, that's something we take for granted. These underdog stories of games that had humble upbringings rising to the task of becoming giant games. Games that can break records as a Roblox game by a 16-year-old. It's genuinely inspiring in the best way possible. You could be the next story about this. You could be the one to break the internet. And the fact that this can actually happen just motivates me to try it more. And if you don't believe me, just watch. This video is gonna break the internet.
You don't have to rub it in.